The last beacon of hope? Jaylen Waddle spared from Miami's fire sale. But is it too little, too late for the drowning Dolphins? Can you believe it? Amidst the absolute chaos, the utter destruction of their season, and the looming fire sale that threatens to gut their entire roster, the Miami Dolphins might actually be making one smart decision. But is it too little, too late? Or is Jaylen Waddle truly the last beacon of hope in a franchise drowning in despair? After weeks of speculation, panic, and the kind of organizational dysfunction that makes even the most loyal fans question their sanity, a glimmer of light has finally pierced the dark clouds hanging over South Florida. According to CBS Sports NFL insider Jonathan Jones, the Dolphins have no intention of trading their star wide receiver, Jaylen Waddle, before the November 4th deadline. Let that sink in for a moment. In a season that has spiraled into an irreversible 1-6 record, culminating in a humiliating 25-point drubbing by the Cleveland Browns, a team widely considered one of the worst in the league, Miami's front office appears to have found a rare moment of clarity. This update comes just days after head coach Mike McDaniel, with a straight face, publicly dismissed all trade rumors involving his team as unfounded. That statement, delivered with the kind of false bravado that only a coach on the hottest of seats can muster, now looks utterly ridiculous, exposed as a transparent lie within 48 hours. But even amidst that spectacular display of disingenuousness, the decision to keep Waddle stands out as a rare, logical move in a sea of bewildering choices. For weeks, as the Dolphins season disintegrated, the question loomed: would Miami completely demolish its roster, even sacrificing its most talented young players for draft capital? Jaylen Waddle's name, despite his undeniable talent, was whispered in those trade discussions, sending shivers down the spines of a fan base already reeling from one disaster after another. But now, with Jones's report, those furious fans can breathe a collective sigh of relief. Waddle, it seems, is safe. And for a franchise that desperately needs a foundational piece to build around, keeping him is not just a smart move. It's an absolutely essential one. Let's be brutally honest about Jaylen Waddle's value to this franchise, because it cannot be overstated. He was one of the few genuinely successful draft picks made by general manager Chris Greer, selected 6th overall in 2021. Since then, he has consistently delivered, recording 3 consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons, a testament to his elite talent, unwavering consistency, and dynamic playmaking ability. Waddle isn't just a receiver. He's a game breaker, a true deep threat with blazing speed, precise route running, and uncanny ability to create yards after catch. He forces defenses to account for him on every single snap, opening up opportunities for other players and making life easier for whoever is under center. His contract situation further solidifies his untouchable status. Waddle is under contract with the Dolphins until the 2028 season, providing long-term stability and cost control that is invaluable in today's NFL. This isn't a pending free agent looking for a massive payday. This is a young, proven star locked into a team-friendly deal for the foreseeable future. From a purely financial perspective, trading Waddle will be an act of self-sabotage. The Dolphins would incur over $40 million in dead cap space if they were to move him, a financially crippling blow that would severely limit their ability to rebuild or acquire new talent in the coming years. No competent front office voluntarily absorbs that kind of financial hit unless they are completely devoid of a long-term strategy, which, to be fair, has been a legitimate concern for Miami. Furthermore, with Tyreek Hill now out for the season due to a serious injury, and with his future in Miami increasingly uncertain given his ongoing legal issues, Waddle is arguably the last remaining elite offensive weapon on this roster. If Hill were to be moved in the offseason, Waddle would immediately step into the undisputed WR1 role, a position he is more than capable of excelling in. Without him, the Dolphins' receiving core will be a desolate wasteland, forcing whoever is playing quarterback to throw to a collection of unproven talent like Malik Washington and Nick Westbrook-Kine. That's not an NFL receiving core. That's a recipe for offensive futility that would scare absolutely no one, except perhaps the most optimistic and deluded Dolphins fans. Keeping Waddle is a clear signal that, despite the impending fire sale, Miami understands the importance of retaining foundational pieces for any future rebuild. A new regime, whether it's a new general manager, a new head coach, or both, would absolutely covet a player of Waddle's caliber. He's the kind of dynamic playmaker you build an offense around, a cornerstone talent who can accelerate a rebuild and provide immediate production for a young quarterback. Trading him away for a collection of draft picks, no matter how high, would be incredibly short-sighted and would only prolong Miami's inevitable return competitiveness. It would make this already lamentable team even worse in the short term and severely limit its potential in the long term. While Waddle appears to be safe, the fire sale is still very much on for other key players, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. Jonathan Jones's report explicitly stated that Miami is likely to listen to offers for veteran pass rushers Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips. This makes perfect sense given the Dolphins' current situation and the strategic value these players hold for contending teams. Bradley Chubb is a prime trade candidate. At 29 years old, he's still productive, having returned from a torn ACL to post 4 sacks and 6 quarterback hits through 6 games this season. He's under contract until 2027, which provides long-term control for any acquiring team. However, Chubb also carries a massive contract, and with only 1 playoff game in his entire career, he's not a proven winner. For a team like Miami that's clearly rebuilding, capitalizing on Chubb's strong season to acquire a significant return, a second-round pick, perhaps even more, is a no-brainer. It frees up cap space and brings invaluable draft capital that can be used to acquire younger, cheaper talent. Jalen Phillips presents a more complex, but equally compelling trade scenario. Phillips, a former first-round pick, possesses elite athleticism and flashes of game-wrecking ability. He's still only 26 years old, which makes him an attractive long-term asset. The problem, as we discussed repeatedly, is his devastating injury history, having finished 2 consecutive seasons on injured reserve. Compounding this issue is his contract, which expires at the end of the season, making him a pending free agent. If Miami holds on to Phillips and he gets injured again or walks in free agency, they risk getting nothing in return or, at best, a compensatory pick that might not materialize or be as high as they'd hope. Trading him now, even for a 3rd or 4th round pick, maximizes his value before he potentially walks for nothing. It's a tough decision, especially given his talent, but it's the prudent one for a team entering a full rebuild. We can also add Matt Judon to this list of likely departures, even though Jones didn't explicitly name him in this particular report. Judon signed a 1-year deal with Miami this offseason, explicitly seeking a chance to compete for a Super Bowl. That dream is now unequivocally dead. Judon is a 33-year-old veteran who wants to win now, and Miami is clearly not a winning team. He's still productive, and a contending team would gladly give up a mid-round pick for his services. It's a win-win. Judon gets to go to a contender, and Miami gets draft capital for a player who was never part of their long-term plans. The reality is that Miami's season is over. The playoffs are a distant memory. The only thing left to do is maximize their trade assets, accumulate draft capital, and prepare for a complete organizational overhaul. Mike McDaniel's job is almost certainly gone. Chris Greer's job is almost certainly gone. Tua Tagovailoa's future in Miami is hanging by a thread. And while the fire sale will be painful, the decision to keep Jaylen Waddle is a small but significant victory for a franchise desperately needing one. It doesn't fix everything, but it prevents an even bigger disaster and ensures that when the Dolphins finally do emerge from this rebuild, they'll have at least one elite offensive weapon to build around. The next 2 weeks will be a brutal reality check for Dolphins fans. Every trade, every departure, every acknowledgement of failure will be a painful reminder of how quickly a season can unravel and how fundamentally broken a franchise can become. But sometimes, hitting rock bottom is the only way to truly rebuild. And for the Miami Dolphins, rock bottom has arrived, ushered in by a humiliating loss to the Browns, and a head coach whose public statements are now exposed as nothing more than desperate lies. At least, for now, Jaylen Waddle remains. He is the last beacon of hope in a franchise drowning in despair. And for that, Dolphins fans can find a sliver of relief. What do you think, Dolphins fans? Is keeping Waddle a sign of hope, or just a single sane decision in a sea of madness? Are you relieved, or do you still want a complete tear down? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you appreciate a dose of sanity amidst the chaos, hit that like button and subscribe for more unfiltered Dolphins analysis. We'll be here tracking every move until the deadline and beyond. See you in the next one.